What's up, everyone? It's your boy Kenny. I want to make a real quick video. The thought just hit my mind. Why today it's much more difficult for men to get pussy as much as compared to how they would get pussy in the past when BD, before dildo, the past BD era, before dildo era. Dildo changed a lot of things in terms of sexual satisfaction and sexual need amongst men and women. Women, I think, are way ahead of the curve. Why? Because a dildo does a better job than you being a guy jerking off with your hands. I'll repeat that. A dildo does a better job compared to you as a guy jerking off with your hands. A dildo satisfies a woman more because it's just like a dick, and they're way better dildos than dicks. Secondly, a lot of men eat unhealthy foods these days. There's so many companies that have come out over the years that create unhealthy foods that you eat, a lot of sugar, a lot of chemicals, and all this stuff affects your sexual range. A lot of men can never have sex past 5 minutes. And the women, after sex, they're not happy, they're disappointed. The man starts up having sex and he comes in like 2 minutes. Coffee every day, cigarettes, all that stuff affects you. But compared to a woman, a dildo does a much better job. She can use a dildo for 30 minutes if she wants to and climax herself and come multiple times. A lot of times when men have sex with women, they have sex, but the woman doesn't even come in the process. Even in porno movies, not every time a woman comes, not every time a woman squirts in porno movies. But with a dildo, she can go as long as she wants and come multiple times, even squirt. That's why if you as a guy somehow are able to make a lady squirt, you're a winner, you're a keeper in her opinion. And that's another subject as to who ends up with a woman versus what the woman wants. Woman looks at sexual satisfaction heavy in some cases. In some cases, it depends on the woman's value and how mature she is. But this is another subject. I'm not going to divert from the main subject. I'm just going to touch on this real quickly, and I'll come back to the main subject. A woman, okay, her values, if her values is brains over fun, then she can choose a guy who's not all that good in bed but smart. Okay, she can use him to build a house, and she figures, hey, if she really wants pleasure and he doesn't, step up his game, within a given amount of time, that can be a reason for her to find pleasure outside. But she knows that the most important thing is building. The guy who doesn't, have sex for a long period of time, who comes in like 2 minutes, but he can build, she can build a family with, he can come in like 2 minutes and, she can have a baby with him. It's all about putting the seed inside of the, woman's, ovaries, and you can do that in 2 minutes, you can do that in 1 hour, you can do that in half an hour. It really doesn't matter how long that process takes. But for the most part, I feel that in measuring that, like women versus men when it comes to sexual satisfaction, I think, in my opinion, that the woman, that's one of the reasons why, a lot of these programs were created over time. They all came right around the same time, right after each other. Feminism, women's rights, dildo. They all came right after, one after the other, and it really affected, the whole, dynamics between a man and a woman. Before dildo, BD, a woman only source of getting dick was from a man. I mean, how many people want to go get candles? How many women want to go get candles and all that other stuff? So the only source for the most part of getting dick was from a guy, But after dildo, everything changed. And with time now, I got close to this lady, and even while I was having sex with her, she was open with me. She told me that she has a dildo, and she said she has a dildo. So that's another option. If you really want to pleasure your lady, Just be humble and know that you as a guy, you cannot satisfy a woman sexually. You as one guy, your egos got you jealous that, oh, she's talking to another guy, or who's that guy she's talking with. But the truth is, a woman has a very, 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 very high and long range sex drive. Don't you watch all these movies? And it hurts your ego because no matter how much you know that, it's still going to be make you jealous if you found out that the woman you're talking to is talking to someone else and someone else. It's going to make you jealous. It's going to hurt your ego because you didn't grow up understanding that's another form of marriage. Which one is that? Is it polygamy? It's just this what we have now, one man and one woman. That's just one system, and it's not very healthy psychologically when it comes to dealing with your insecurities, because it would be healthier, it would create a healthier society if a woman could marry multiple men. So it will create a society where people are not that as jealous as they are now, that their spouse is talking to someone else. You have a much freer mind. Go out of the house. That you're not just the only one fucking her, because even if you were the only one fucking her, when you are out of the house and you're not doing a good enough job, nobody can possibly do a good enough job. She would, get the, replacement, from someone else or somewhere else. Believe me. Especially in today's society where the woman is working just as much as the man. When it was back in the days when the women lived in huts, when families lived in huts and women's place was just to cook, then definitely that the man, his dick was the only place that she was getting dick from, and she would live in fear to cheat. Because the husband was like the superhero. It would be like cheating against superhero. And another good thing for men back then was that men were much healthier sexually. They lasted longer when it comes to sex. They did a much better job when it comes to sex. Have 3, 4, 5 kids in the house, still strong. Grown up, you're 50s, you're still performing just as good as you were, in your 30s. You have 4, 5, 6 kids. There was not that much responsibilities when it came to lifestyle. So the rent was not that high. So everything was good back then. Everything put the man over the woman in every area, and brute strength too. If a grizzly bear came to attack, brute strength, the man was strong. He would fight against the grizzly bear and protect his family. But now everything has changed. Dildo has changed everything. A good competition with dildo will be a female sex robot, and men don't have that yet. So a lot of men go around today drooling over women. Masturbation does not do a good enough job in satisfying a man. It makes you come, you pleasure yourself, but it's nothing compared to a dildo. You can't jerk off for 30 minutes. You only have one chance to come as a guy, but a woman can come multiple times. So maybe the way every society is now is not the right way to go. Because if a woman can come multiple times, then she should have multiple sexual partners. It's unfortunate, but that's just the truth. You as a guy, you can only come once during sex. You can only come once. Just once during sex. And after that, you're toast. You're done. Then why is it such that you as a guy that can only come once during sex, you are married to a woman that can come multiple times and multiple times during sex? It doesn't make any sense. That's why, that creates a very unhealthy and unbalanced relationship. Because if the woman feels like she has not come yet, then the woman, after having sex with this guy, she has to start making moves as to getting other sexual partners. Especially in today's world where the woman is just as busy. She can tell you she's working late, and she's not. She has to go meet up with someone else for sex. On the job, she meets many people besides you. The way society is structured right now, I'm just going to say, as much as we've become used to it, it's really not the best way. It's just one way. It's not the best way. It's not the best option. It's just one. So, I lived with this. I live with this lady. I think it's over now, but it just humbled me to know how powerful that dildo stuff is. She says she has lived by herself for a very long time. And she has lived by herself for a very long time with her dog. That's another story. I think I'm on a video on that one. But you as a guy, you can't match up to a dildo. That's why a lot of men, like, you really have to set your game up to get a woman these days, especially in the big cities where women work a lot. Women move from their city to the big city and they have to live alone. They rely on themselves for a lot of things, find a place to stay, getting a car, getting a job. So they spend a lot of time just being independent by default in the big city. So when they spend a lot of time being independent, they realize that they don't have the luxury of their younger days where they just relax a lot, meet a lot of friend guys. So they have to find a way to pleasure themselves. That's where they have to go get a couple of dildos. And just one dildo is gonna last for a very long time. A dildo can last for years. A man's sex drive decreases over time. A man's sex drive, after a while, you find it hard to get your dick hard. That's a lot of, that's why because a lot of men are not healthy. They're not growing up healthy. A lot of the foods that we eat, the air that we breathe is affecting you as a man. And, even like the fluoride, all the other stuff is decreasing your sex drive. It's decreasing, the amount of time that you can have sex within a given period of time. So you as a guy, there's so much that challenges you. There's so much that you have to compete with. It's so much you have to fight against. And a lot of people are dumbed down, especially men, and they don't have the time to even care for themselves. That's why a woman can have, a lot of ladies today have totally given up on sex with guys because they've been single for so long, and they're like, okay, they're just building it for that one time they're gonna have sex with this guy. Even though they have a dildo, they're just like men who say no fap. They're like, no dildo, I'm just gonna wait for that one guy and just try to resist the temptation of having my dildo. She waits for a whole year and has sex with this guy, and he comes in 5 minutes or 2 minutes. What a fucking disappointment. The time it took her to take her clothes off, it's just as much as the time it took her to have sex with this guy. And she's like, you're done? And now she got to put her clothes back on. And it's like, the man's like, oh, I came. But, like, the woman is not that happy. She's just like, wow, this is a bummer. And after she has that encounter several times within a year, maybe she spaces it out, build for that woman, go out on a date, whatever, have sex with a guy, and it doesn't do well, she just kind of like gives up in her mind because she doesn't have the luxury of meeting a lot of men just like that. No one has the luxury these days, especially when you're an adult, you have to work. So no one really has the luxury of just meeting other partners just like that, except if you are aware of that and you make a conscious choice to put yourself in a place where you can keep meeting people. And if you have a good career, the way you can make money and meet people and all that kind of stuff, the more people you can meet, the more traffic, the more, chances you have of getting your love life. But not everyone has that luxury, Every industry, is only catered to, a certain amount of people. A lot of people make wrong choices, and they make wrong choices, then they have to make the right choice to, rephrase that. So it's tough, love life these days is getting really tough, Okay, what about guys that, to get pussy, they have to resort. So that's why, because of dildos, these days, a lot of times when you say hello to a woman, she don't even say nothing back. I'll say that again. She doesn't say anything back. There was once a time before dildo, you give good energy to a lady, she gives it back to you. She turns, she's going, But these days, those times are all gone. Okay, let's say a woman chooses not to have dildo and she wants to have lots of sexual partners and she, becomes an escort. There's so many escorts walking around that you say, they have sex with so many people that in terms of relationship, they're just dead and they're like a blank, like a slab. No life in terms of relationship or long-term relationship. They're just whores. They meet you, the fuck. They look pretty, they look like regular chicks walking down the street, but they're escorts. Now, how social can you be to charm an escort? This is someone who has sex with multiple guys. She's like a prostitute. How social can you be? What kind of game can you come up with? I don't think anyone has that game, that kind of game. You'd be like Jesus game, like. But how many people have that kind of game these days? Games take effort, and talking all the time takes effort, and it takes time. If you want to learn how to talk to women, that's cool. You can learn how to talk to women, but how much time do you have? The guy who has money and can get the pussy quick is way better than you going to waste your saliva and your energy talking to this one, and you got to keep calling and talking and calling and talking. No, I'm busy today. You talk to this one. That takes time, and that's what a lot of these kids are growing up on. That's what hip hop is teaching a lot of these kids. Oh, have game. Fuck having game. Having game is bullshit. Just know how to be you and be in tune with yourself. Having game. You want to know how to talk to a lot of women. You have time for that? Who has time? You have a life to build, because you have to keep the conversation going. It's just like telling a lie. You have to keep telling a lie, keep telling different lies. So fuck having game. You just want to be able to get what you want and bounce. So you got the ladies who have, who if they want to get pussy, they can get if they want to be escorts, they can have many different partners, because a woman can come multiple times. How many male prostitutes do you know? How many men can have sex with 6 women in one day? A little confession to make. There was once a time I picked up an escort. I didn't pick up an escort. It was a time when I was single. So I went down to see a girl, young girl like 18, 19, pretty, brown skin. And we talked a little bit before, we begun. Oh, it was after we finished the session. We talked, and she said that I said, oh, how's business for you? She said, oh, she's happy that I came. And I'm like, oh yeah, don't worry, you're gonna bank. She said something like, hopefully she gets 10 customers a day. That would be cool. And looking at it from the financial point, 10 customers a day, that's not that bad. But looking at it from a sexual point, a sexual perspective, sexual activeness, it becomes scary, because you as a guy, you can't even measure up. You cannot have sex with 10 women in one day. You cannot jerk off more than twice in one day. That's literally impossible. But a woman is talking about having sex with 10 different guys in one day. Hopefully she does, because she wants to make money. So that wouldn't even break her bank. So this is a very, very deep subject. It's a very, very long subject, and I have to make more videos on it. But for the most part, it's not even equal at all in that sense. In terms of maybe brute force, brute strength. How many guys can wrestle 10 people in one day? It's not even equal at all. Society is not the way it should be. A woman should be married to multiple men, or 2 women to 5 men, and they have orgies as a family. That would be much healthier. That would be bring forth a better society. The way it is right now is creating a lot of kids growing up without parents, because if kids have multiple parents, I'm not talking about adoption, multiple parents, it would be better, because if 1 dies or 2 dies, you still have 2 to continue the legacy. But the way it is now, only 1 parent, 1 mother, and 1 father. When 1 dies, you feel the loss. It affects the kids. It affects the whole family. The family starts to break apart. And you have a lot of people, single people, going around having kids, but little did they know that if life happens and one of them passes away, it's going to affect the whole, because they don't have much options for raising that kid. It's just the father and the mother. So women should have multiple partners, multiple husbands. I'm not saying multiple sexual partners, because if they don't have multiple husbands, then they're gonna have multiple sexual partners. That's giving your energies to different strangers. Just because you've known someone for 2 months and you have sex with, that person is still a stranger. You divert your energy. It's like society has been really, really dumbed down. Society has been really, really dumbed down. So maybe the way all this races came about, the way all this different races of people came about, it came from one woman and different men. You can build a race. If you go off to a planet, you can build a race off of just one woman and different men, different colored men. You're gonna build different races of people just off of one woman. And they can start out that way, and she will be the queen, and she has to be treasured because she plays a very important vital role. But the way society is structured right now, the government is very, very empowered, while the people are not, even in their families. A lot of people are single in society. A lot of people are caught up in a, what's that thing? Hamster wheel. They're just going to work, go back, especially with COVID. A lot of people don't even have a place to meet other people. So a lot of people are by themselves, and you're going to have to learn how to love yourself, especially in today's world. You're going to learn how to love yourself. So I'm just like, I thought about it. I was like, wow, sexually, women and men are not equal. Not even close. Not even close. You as a guy, you have to really try to manage, your semen to last long in bed. But these days, a lot of men are so messed up, health-wise, even though they look healthy, and they cannot last for too long. I've heard my roommate having sex. No, not my roommate. The guy next to the house is really close, and we can hear each other. The walls are thin, and that shit lasts just like an animal, because the man has been downgraded just the same way the length of time it takes a dog to have sex. That's the amount of time it's taking men to have sex these days. It's crazy. I'm like, Jesus Christ, they're done? I just hear that shit. Boop, 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 boop. That's it. Like an animal, like a dog. No difference, because the more a man is dumbed down, the lower he becomes, just like an animal. His nature and his metabolism and system begins to function like an animal. But what still makes him a man is because of his brain. He still have, a very complex brain of a man. But his body is far from where it should be. So, it's not equal. How can you create a society where men and women are equal sexually? Not even close. Like, the man has to be rebuilt to a way that he can come multiple times in one sexual encounter. He has to be rebuilt in a way that he can come multiple times. Because I don't care how much sex drive you have. Not too many dudes out there have the sexual capacity to be able to come 5 times, 6 times, 7 times in one sexual encounter. That's impossible. Porno movies last long because it's edited. It's edited. It's not just one encounter. They make it seem like it's one encounter. But with that one girl, he would have sex a lot of times. They take breaks in between. But today is different. People make their own porno movies. It's different today, and they upload it to X videos, whatever. But they will come multiple times. But our ego as men is just so big. That's another subject, another title. Our ego as men is so big that we think that we are enough for one woman. And you got dudes fighting over a woman. If you see, this is another title too. If you see a woman within range of you who you know messing with another dude who's within range of you, don't be in a hurry. Just wait. They're gonna fight eventually. They're gonna get tired of each other eventually. They're gonna, she's gonna get tired of him. So don't fret. It's gonna come to you. It's gonna come to you eventually. There was one time I was messing with this girl, who, like a roommate. It was me, her, and it was like we're like housemates and stuff. Like she moved in as a friend, to our through someone I knew her, but she wasn't really my girlfriend. I just got her the spot to live at, you know. And at that time, I was single too. So she and I became very close, but there was another roommate guy who was my friend too. And she started becoming close to him too. So, but I was the first one who became close to her. At first, she wasn't really talking to him, so I was messing with her. But I was trying my best not to get her to talk to him, you know, so I wanted her to focus on me. But the more I tried to do that, the more, anytime she talked to him, I would get jealous. But the more I tried to do that, the more it didn't feel healthy for me. Because while my worried, she's not even my girlfriend. But even though I thought it would be cool for her to be my girlfriend, but eventually, you know, I did a good job of just keeping her on my side. But that went on for a while. The other guy wasn't even talking to her. He didn't really see her that much. You know, she literally stayed in my room. I tried to make sure everything was in my room. But after a while, we began to have disagreements. She and I, no matter how good the sex was and all that stuff, we began to have disagreements. And as we had disagreements, she began to you know, shift towards him. Her conversation with him began to, you know, grow, because she and I were doing a lot of fighting because we've become tired of each other. So, man, don't let your egos get to you. Don't fight over a woman, even though that's not the title of this subject. The woman will come your way. She has a much bigger and longer range sex drive. One man can't satisfy a woman. I don't care what they've told you. The way this world is right now is not structured right. I don't think it's as healthy.